Alright, what's going on, y'all? Today we're gonna be going into engine setup for drifting. So by this time, everybody should understand chassis setup, um, based on all the cars you made so far. So today we're just gonna focus on engine setup and what I look for and how I try to develop the car to even do what I wanted to do, just based on just engine alone. So right now, I don't even know what engine is in this car. Let's see. Okay, so this is the SR20. All right, so and then another thing too, if you don't have the engine, it kind of adds another layer of like benefits because you have access. If a car only came with like say an engine that don't make that much power, you could swap it out to one of these, and then on their roadmap later on in the game they could supposed to be adding more engine swaps. So I would suggest get the engine swaps. But for right now, we're just gonna do the stop motor in this 15, and I'm I'm gonna show you how I like to set up the engine to just be the most competitive and also be fun to drive at the same time. So right now, the main things that I like to focus on is the max torque the max torque, and where I want it to be in the power band. So the rev limit, I only change this for like if I only trying to use a specific gear and I want the car to just be able to get more wheel speed. But other than that, I really just have a set number that I like to see, but based on engine. But for this video, we're going to rev all the way to 86, and the max torque gonna be at, let's do it at the highest number first, and then I'm gonna drop it to where I would put it directly. So I always go max engine tune up, and I'll depend on how much power I'm trying to make. I adjust the air pressure, the boost accordingly. But for right now, since we only at let's do, what's the highest we could go? Let's go. So max RPM, max torque, and max rev limit. Let's see what that do. Everything maxed out at this point. So I'm gonna show you how the car drives. Everything gonna still stay the same with the gear and everything from the previous videos, but I'm gonna just give you like how the car drives with just max everything and how you kind of make it to where it's competitive. So today we are on the wheel. Oh, I have to change this. Forgot about that. Hopefully I don't have to change my settings already there. Okay. Hopefully we ain't gotta change it on. Okay, we in there. Alright. Alright, so this is where you might see the problem when it comes to building these cars when you max out everything. Scenarios like that where you expecting to be in like you're in a higher gear, and you drop too low in the RPM, and the car's not able to pull through that. Hence why a lot of FD drivers they use nitrous to prevent scenarios like that where you actually fall out of boost, or you don't have that enough engine power to or torque to get the car to keep going through a high load scenario when the RPM is low. See, look at that. I don't think this car is that hooked up, but it shouldn't be able to pull six gear either way because, ooh, Alright, so that was the first little test. So there was a couple scenarios where I throw the car in fifth. You heard the car like die down a little bit. I had to either clutch kick it and try to get it higher. Let me turn this up a tad bit. I turned it up a little bit so we could hear a little better. So I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna try to put the car in a scenario where I'm trying to put the car when it's in a high load situation and you fall out of boost or you fall out of that RPM that keeps the wheel spinning at the highest rate. So you see, I'm clutch kicking it. Remember the limit right now for the max torque is 5k. So just watch when I go to 6 what the car does. See? See? That's 6th gear. I gotta clutch kick it. Alright, there. See, it's not working. I gotta clutch kick it all the time to get the RPMs back above that 5k limit where the max torque is. So basically, you want to adjust the torque in the power band to make the car drive to prevent scenarios like that. In my eyes, for a good competitive car, you want the car to make power, but also don't log, like reduce the scenarios of like literally the car lugging and not able to pull through the grip. See? Fall down. It's building, building, building. Yes, you could downshift, but say you're in competition. Adding that one shift might mess up your whole run. So that's why you want to build the motor in such a way that you have less chances of that happening. So this is another extreme example. Car is lugging, but I just decided to just for me, I like to be able to use any gear I want when it comes to drifting, because sometimes you have different tracks, and that's another thing too. Sometimes I might take any of my cars on different tracks when I'm online. So I don't build my cars track specific, but I like to know that my engine is set up to where I could use any of my gears. So let's change torque, the max torque down a little lower, because before it was at 5500. So let's drop it down to, ideally I want to be around closer to 45. 45, I'm only making 700 horsepower, but I'm making 875 torque. So let's bring the RPM down right around 86, and let's give it a drive now. And you're gonna see the difference when I shift into that 6th gear, how the engine is just so already ready to light off. Yep. Shift into 6, you don't hear that lugging as much. And look, see? That's an extreme scenario. I could cut clutch kick through the whole thing, but all I need to just, if I need to downshift, I just downshift. But I could use 6th gear. Not saying that it's necessary at this moment in time. I'm just showing you like the extreme scenarios, like where I like my max torque and how I like my engine to be set up for competition. Car is easy, much easier to drive. I'm not clutch kicking the whole thing. All I'm doing is either downshifting or It's gonna pull this whole corner. Full throttle, not even like almost 95. Downshift. Engine is way more responsive. I sacrificed the horsepower, so this car, I could throw a lot of grip at it, but I would probably try to stick to like lower horsepower cars going using this car with this motor setup right now. So for today's video, I'm only gonna use the SR20 as an example because if you this could translate to any other engine really because it's the same thing I do. So I just find the balance between the torque, the max torque, and where I want it to be in where I want it to be in the RPM. So that's what this video is for, and hopefully this little tip is beneficial to y'all and help y'all drift builds to get a little bit better, give y'all a little bit more of an edge and how to understand when you're doing car setup. Or maybe this will give you a foot to just at least start to build your own cars instead of just going into the shop and just picking up tunes. I already gave y'all suspension and chassis setup, so this is just a video just going over like engine setup for any car really, because you could use the same principles I told you about the max RPM, the max torque, so where you want it. You don't want to put it too high where you're just when you shifting in a high load scenario and you going in a competition and the car just dies out when you're trying to keep up because you're trying to keep the wheel speed high. So definitely, hence why they use nitrous in Formula Drift. A lot of these cars now they got nitrous on top of their power outer, on top of superchargers, on top of turbo cars especially. Some of them be spraying a little bit of nitrous, not a whole lot, but just to prevent those scenario where they're under high load and the car is not able to pull and light off as fast as they want, where they have to clutch kick or have to downshift, and that could in incorporate mistakes and bad habits. So hopefully this video gave you a little bit of light and tips on setting up the engine for CarX, but it applies in real life too because a lot of times people put like they would have a big higher compression engine, let's say inline 6 or inline 4. They would try to put a smaller turbo on it even though and suffer on the back pressure side to try to keep the motor responsive, while in CarX we deal with the same thing because I hate driving the JZ in some cars in this game. Why? Because I can't get a max torque low enough to where the engine stays responsive. I have to do a bunch of tuning tricks to try to drive around that. So maybe one day I'll drop a video on one of the nicer 2JZs in this game, but I'm gonna do a nice example of 6th gear again. Not saying it won't happen. See, that was an extreme scenario. Not saying it won't happen because I didn't need to shift into 6th gear, but here I'm already at red line in 5th. I need 6th gear. See, even how low it goes. I might go in the grass. Damn, I didn't want to lose the points. Damn, it'd be like that. See, I just gave it one clutch kick and it's already back to where I want it to be. You can also mitigate that by running a shorter 6th gear to try to fix that little area right there. But right now, this is just one of my tunes for when I'm tandeming with my friends and they have higher horsepower cars and I just want to door them the whole run. So this is what my purpose for this car is. But yeah, man, hopefully this video is insightful. Like, comment, subscribe, tap into the kick, follow me, join my Discord. You could get a more communication for me there. And yeah, join the community. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. And that's all I got. I'm gonna do one more look at this setup before we get off. Engine setup. As you can see, torque and then the horsepower just keeps pulling. We could bring the limit in a little bit more, like around 84, which would be good too, but I like 86, which is fine. So that's my setup. You could use this right here to really make the difference in any car. So please use it to your advantage. And that's all I got.